your mind is okay. Off your mind, nobody is sound like me.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Politico, Maiyegun don't come, oh, this one not the off in mind. Maiyegun don't come, oh, and in the touchlight every corner. Maiyegun don't come, oh, okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you lie down, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ dódódódó. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ dódódódó. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun diary.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun live. And thanks so much for joining me again tonight. So share the broadcast, invite your friends. We have some history lesson to take.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Ani Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ dódódódó. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. YouTube.
Say if you don't have access to history, like they say in Yoruba, you will be lost. If you don't learn, wait for this one. If you don't read your history, you will be lost. Then if you read your history, you should learn from your history, never to repeat the mistake in your history. But if you fail to learn from your history, you would make the same mistake again and again that will cost generations. Now I will take you round or back the memory lane when Awolowo also thought he could save Nigeria.
And yes, right. And yes, right. Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá. And yes, right. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òun.
Just before we settle down, right? This happened earlier today in Nigeria, where Nnamdi Kanu appeared in court again. And justice, as we saw it, denied as well. Just a clip from the courtroom today.
Where's that one? Where's the brother? Okay, he didn't come today. He didn't come today.
I've done more than enough.
Inside the courtroom, where the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, appeared today, where he also, his own legal team filed for his bail, but the bail was denied by this Justice Binta Nyako on the ground that the legal team didn't give her enough evidence to back the reason why Nnamdi Kanu had to run for his life when Boko Haram's junta, Boko Haram's killer squad visited his home and they killed 28 people. So Nyako said, no, she's not going to grant her the bail, right? And she adjourned the case till November 14. That's going to be another, how many months? That's going to be another 5 solid months. Yes, that is what they do. They accused him of insulting Nigeria, abusing Buhari, and that is why he had to be locked up legally. The political class who have now escalated insecurity in eastern Nigeria, they have cashed in on this, right, to blame the same man that they have locked up illegally. Now, whatever you want to see it as, self-determination, as it remains all over the world, right, is your right. It is your fundamental human right that you can exercise anytime without any kind of infringement, but not in Nigeria. But despite all of this illegality, Nnamdi Kanu still dropped this message, especially to the IPOB faithfuls.
I'm
disappointed.
No, not at all. What should I do? It's what we expect to have. But I want our people to be very calm. I want Biafra land to be calm and peaceful. Calm and very, very peaceful. We are fighting to defend our people, not to kill them.
Yes.
We are fighting to defend them. That's why I'm here.
Yes.
I will continue to do so until we get victory.
By the special grace of God. No matter what they tell you in your media in Nigeria, or no matter the lies that all these paid acts, media acts, spreading, The real fact is that in their courtroom, your government in Nigeria is afraid to even present their own evidence against the man that they have told you is probably the reason why you currently have no fuel in Nigeria. The reason why your national grid is collapsing. The reason why your naira is collapsing, is crashing. The reasons why Nigeria is in deep hole as we speak. They demonize him, they tell you a lot of things. But guess what? He is resolute. And no matter whatever long it takes, always remember this. He is not a coward. It is your courtroom. Bring you made the allegations. Bring your own evidence into your own courtroom. You have your own judges. Just bring your own evidence and stop postponing, adjourning. Who does that? Only in Nigeria, where they would love to delay justice and at the same time deny it. You are seeing it. Until you find yourself in that same hole, you probably would never understand. And he appealed to the what do you call it, to the IPOB faithfuls, that do not let yourself be pushed into violence, because that's what they wanted. Is there, and however long it takes them, he knows they will eventually have to let you go. When I say that, there are so many precedents and antecedents towards this that you should begin to pay attention to. The reasons why this younger generation need to know what happened during your own grandparents' time. If you are from any part, as you are a part of Nigeria today, you should know your history, everything they have fed you, especially everything they have fed you with since 1999. Those of you who were born around that time, they have been pure lies, and you are living that lie today. But you should know better in order for you to make the right decisions about your future. Your future is yours. And wherever you want it to be is where it's going to be. But if you have no idea, your future will be taken from you by the rogues who lied to you. So history. Nigeria was never won, my brother and sister. Nigeria is never one Nigeria. It's always been many Nigerias. And in order to make it official enough, we had the western region, we had the eastern region, we had the northern region, then we later had the midwestern region. These were the kind of demographic identity given to different nations who make up what is today's Nigeria, which you watching me right now primarily can tell which nation you come from. I'm a Yoruba man, and a Jebu man. From the old Western region, when we had the old Western region government, at the time it was purely Yorubas for Yoruba. But the politics of the old, which is quite rare in itself today, has shown that every effort to try to say you want to replicate whatever thing you are doing in your own region nationwide will be rebuffed and comes with its own consequences. Chief Obafemi Awolowo painted a picture of why everything you witness in Nigeria today, the underdevelopment, the corruption, the religion fanatism, the religion violence, and all manner of crime you witness today, they are deliberate. They are not coincidental. The political, the political abracadabra, the political division, the corruption in the politics, the unpatriotism you have witnessed in those who claim to, who should be patriotic, so to say, considering the opportunity that they have been given, at least among others, in that same contraption for years, but they choose never to be patriotic. All of that are deliberate. And you see, when something is deliberate, it is always better to be precise when you are dealing with it. You should never be dilly-dallying. You should never be politically correct. And that's something that puts many of us at the center of the whole thing. Like, you are so blunt. Yes, you should be, because once you know what it is, the right thing to do is to be what? To be precise when you are dissecting it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Or we have been doing, by the way, and we will continue to be doing. Education is so important. Awolowo invested a lot in it. In fact, he saw the future. He said, if you want the people to have the standard income in their lives, you must educate them. Education varies. There are technical education, there are other, you know what I mean? But you must educate the citizens if you want them to live or lead a standard life. Education. And that gave us a edge as Yoruba people from Western region in Nigeria. Then it indeed gave us a edge. Awolowo thought it was winning, it was doing fine. 1959, when they said independence was coming, which simply means those who were ruling their regions could now be part of a national, something called a National Assembly, sort of like the Parliament of the UK, where all the political parties from all parts of the UK, the regions, will converge to discuss what primarily concerned them and their constituencies. Then secondarily, what concerns the entire country, which is what they now make a decision. Okay, entire country, okay, what should we do? Defense, this and that. That was what we had. Awolowo thought it could be the first prime minister or the first president of Nigeria. I read the whole thing, and I read Chief Obafemi Awolowo's own memo. I'll read them to you right now. I'll read some of them in part to you. Why my presidential ambitions failed. He tried just a year before the independence of Nigeria. And what happened? I'll tell you. This is where he elaborated that the reasons why the northern Nigeria is backward is because the northern Nigeria elites, the politicians, their cleric, the elite, all of them, they wanted it to be like that. Awolowo wrote it down. He wanted to be president of Nigeria, the first prime minister or whatever of Nigeria. And do you know what he had to sell? A very good program that is changing lives of the people in the western region of Nigeria. When Awolowo was the premier of the western region, Ahmadu Bello was the premier of the northern region. He was a god. I'm not joking. Go and read about him. He was a god. He doesn't go out. He doesn't go out to campaign. Because of the poor education in northern Nigeria, which was so deliberate, the people had to wait and rely on the directive of their emirs, the directive of their politicians on what to do even during elections. So Awolowo thought that wasn't good. For a country that is about to gain independence, this is bad. So he wrote it in his memo. Let me see if I can catch that and read that to you before we continue, so that you understand that why is Nnamdi Kanu asking that we should all go our different ways for the sake of the generation that are going to come after, especially now that we are here, since 60 years after Awolowo thought he could use education, like Tinubu is trying to yell, this is about lesson, okay? Learn something. Written down, Awolowo said in that book, Why My Presidential Ambition Failed, in 1959 and in 1979 in northern Nigeria. In 1959, during the election, that was to usher in independence in 1960. In quote, Awolowo, this is Awolowo writing this. I embarked on an elaborate campaign in the north. I don't know how old you were at that time. I was using helicopter to campaign in every nook and corner of the north. The most important aspect of the campaign of the action group was free education, life more abundant for the generality of the people, etc., etc. Our manifesto was centered on the development of man. We worked so hard that the Sardauna of Sokoto, Ahmadu Bello, was forced to come out to campaign, a thing he was never used to. My hope at that time was to liberate the North from illiteracy, ignorance, and the rank-a-day mentality of the less privileged majority. If I had won the election, I would have put a lot of money into educating the North in order to bridge the educational gap between that region and the Western and the Eastern regions. This was because I saw the lack of education as a stumbling block against political enlightenment of the whole Northern region. 1959, Awolowo. Because they were not educated, the voters could not make up their own minds and make their own choices. Rather, the innocent people of the North had to be dictated to by emirs and the elites who fed them on a regular basis. Whereas in the Western region, people could argue with their obas. They could read manifestos and make an independent choices of which party and which politicians to vote for. Unfortunately, all my efforts to liberate the North from the cruel jaws of the oligarchy were frustrated by those who prefer and will always prefer the status quo to a new dawn of educational advancement. You can see that even now, the educational gap between the North and South is increasing by leaps and bounds. All the talks about catching up is nonsense. How can you catch up with somebody who is running while you are crawling? Awolowo. But I think that sooner than later, the leaders of the North will see the repercussions of their selfishness and carelessness in their attitude towards Western education. But the time will be too late. And if they don't regret it or blame themselves for lack of foresight, the Northern youth may ask their leaders some questions when they see the rate of development that goes with education in many parts of Southern Nigeria. They may then wonder whether it was in their stars or in the selfishness, carelessness, and lack of foresight of their past and present leaders. If I had been given the chance in 1959 or 1979, I would have changed the fortune of the North as a place that can be compared favorably with the South in terms of educational, social, and economic advancement. As for me, I don't think we should always blame a president's lapses on his advisors. Awolowo continued, Chief Awolowo. As for me, I don't think we should always blame a president's lapses on his advisors. It is the duty of a president, as an educated and intelligent man, to know what advice is good or bad for his people. If he considers the advice just and of public good, he will take it, as he himself would have calculated the consequences of such an action. What is more, he should be able to use his own discretion as Mr. President. If he is in doubt, he calls experts from universities where scholars must have done research about such things or known about similar cases with particular consequences. As the premier of the Western region, I chose my ministers strictly on merit and because of their education, standard, and discipline. Every minister or advisor and top civil servant had to do his own work properly before bringing anything to a cabinet meeting or any other important meeting where it will be subjected to rigorous debates. Where there are gray areas, expert opinion will be sought for the purpose of objectivity. As the premier, I had to follow all procedures vigorously and meticulously, always relating our decisions and actions to the public good. It is because of this service to the public that I often maintained that the office of the president or prime minister is not for pleasure. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, it looks as if the office of the president, minister, or advisor is for pleasure, like dining and whining and carousing with women of easy virtue, both at home and abroad. Off quote, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the sage, in one of his memo, why he could not, or why the northern Nigeria, the underdevelopment there, the religious fanaticism there, everything that has dragged Nigeria down to this day from northern Nigeria, they are not coincidences. They were deliberate. So when you see Awolowo, you see Chief Awolowo's caliber of politician are the type that were called real Yorubas. I'm talking about the real people who are the interest of the Yorubas at heart, for real. And there are records to back that up. Today, Shebi Awolowo thought Yoruba land would have become so educationally advanced that the leaders of northern Nigeria would regret not investing in educating their citizens in the future, because Awolowo thought back then that maybe regionalism, the Yoruba, this sophistry, and the blah, 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 blah would never be tamed by the greed of those that were going to come back to lead Yoruba land in this project Nigeria. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was wrong, thinking that we would be better off than the northern Nigeria. Education became crippled. Miseducation took over. Educated people have now become slaves, servitude, humbled slaves to the illiterates who are now holding political offices and deciding their own fate, their future, their fortune, their income, and otherwise, including their pension. Poverty now stares our people on the faces, and sadly so, we are no longer different from the people that Chief Obafemi Awolowo said he was trying to save so that he could catch up with himself. Our people are poorer now, very poor, pretenders too. Education is gone. Ogun State, I was reading something about the people of Ogun State earlier, just before we continue. So watch this. So this person is a teacher in Ogun State, and guess what? I don't think Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who happened to come from Ikene, in Western region, Ogun State, I don't think he's going to be laughing now, or he's going to be happy right now in his own grave. That 60 years after he attempted to preach the same success he achieved in Western region, that we are so going to be so independent, we're so going to be so better off than those in the north, that he felt like it was going to save them. But look at the teacher. It is that bad. They are crying because they've not paid they've not paid their salaries. They've not paid all their deductions for 8 years that they should be remitting. Government deduct their money from their salary. They make some deductions, and they were supposed to be remitting those money with another agency that will allow them to have access to some extra income, soft loans, and others to help them at least augment any kind of a financial difficulty somebody who is working for government. Some of them have not received those remittances for the past 8 years. Some of them have not received their promotions or promotion examination in the past 5 years. Some of them have not, it's so terrible, right? And they are teachers in Ogun State, and it's the same all over Nigeria. Seriously, no joke. And they will tell them, just like somebody told me, the same treatment for all those who also served Nigerians and they are now retired, and they call them pensioners, right? So somebody told me a story. I said, in Lagos, pensioners were protesting and they went to Alausa. Tinubu was the president then. So when they got to Alausa and they managed to force Tinubu out as the governor, when he came out and he saw them, he was like, in what could be translated as, oh, you are still this many. So many of you have not died, pensioners. So you are still this many, that we are still like pensioners, unpaid pensioners. I don't know if many of you have actually, or if you remember the time that Lautech was under lock and key strike for, I think it was for 8 months or for over a year at the time. And the person who happened to be the visiting, what's it they call them again? Is it visiting chancellor? Not vice chancellor, but the chancellor for Ladoke Akintola Lautech, Ladoke Akintola University. It was Tinubu. Education, empowering people is not theirs, but turning you into all risers, beggars, ass lickers. Something that Awolowo then would have never envisaged for the people of Yoruba land. They are now the common things in Yoruba land today. People are dying in the hands of those who keep telling them that they should pray for Nigeria. Okunu even added his own voice at some point.
Kò bẹ́ẹ̀ ní rárá láàárọ̀ yìí ẹ̀rìn kọ́ ló bá dé tí a bá ń wòran tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ tá a kàn dákẹ́ a fẹ́ kó bàjẹ́ ni o ayé Nàìjíríà ti bàjẹ́ gan o ó wá jọkùnrin ni ó ṣobìnrin ni ó ṣọmọdé ni ó ṣàgbàlagbà ni tó lówó síbí ló lè ṣe bàjẹ́ délé ni ayé tí wọn náà ò bàjẹ́ tọmọtọmọ ni. Gbogbo ẹni tó contribute sí ìlú yìí táyé ìlú yìí fi bàjẹ́ débi tó bàjẹ́ dé ayé wọn ó bàjẹ́ tọmọtọmọ ni Nàìjíríà ti bàjẹ́ gan o ó ti bàjẹ́ gan mi tiẹ̀ mọ̀ pé aspect báyìí ló kù tó sì ń bẹ́tà kí wàá ní wàhálà tára títí tá à ń ṣe we are not citizens of this country à ń sọmọ ìlú yìí foreigners ni wá.
That's the reality, but people lie to themselves because of the peanuts that these rogues are offering them. Let's go back to Ogun State, where Eleyi of Ogun State, a Yoruba man, a Yoruba governor in a Yoruba state, is dealing with the Yoruba teachers who are supposed to be teaching the Yoruba children in a contraption called Nigeria. And guess what? Is going for the second term. Just relax and listen to this. Just a pimp into what is going on.
Olówó òṣìṣẹ́ a máa wá déédéé. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, òní òní jẹ́ òṣìṣẹ́ lówó. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, oògùn òṣìṣẹ́ màmá ti gbẹ tán. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ìnira yìí máa pọ̀jù lápọ̀jù. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ojú wa ṣòmí gbére. Ojú wa ṣòmí gbére. Yéèpà Mr. Gómìnà la fẹ́ rí. Ọmọ Abíọ́dún mà la fẹ́ rí. Ọmọ bàbá tíṣà kan la fẹ́ rí. Ọ̀rọ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn yìí mà tún fojú sú mi. Contributory pension ti ẹ máa gbọ́ ẹ jẹ́ tuntun kan. Yé Abíọ́dún mà la fẹ́ rí. Ọmọ bàbá tíṣà gangan la fẹ́ rí. Ọ̀rọ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn yìí mà tójú sú mi. Contributory pension ti wọ Gombe. Promotion ti wọ Gombe. Gratuity mà ti wọ Gombe. Owó cooperative ti wọ Gombe. Owó pension mà ti wọ Gombe. Oògùn òṣìṣẹ́ bàbá ti pẹ́ tán. Ojú wa ṣòmí gbére. Ojú wa ṣòmí gbére.
Though I didn't play that video because I wanted you to pity them. No. Don't pity anybody, any one of them. There's no pity. It's not a pity party. Like I said, if you don't learn from history, you are bound to repeat the same. The impoverishment of our people, which is now the opposite of what Chief Obafemi Awolowo envisaged or envisioned at the time when he thought he could rescue the North and then save Nigeria. And you saw how that panned out. He discovered that the owners of Nigeria, they were not interested in any of such a human development. And when you now see, when you now look into what happened back then, that history, and you bring that part of that history out, and then you look at the characters parading themselves as the political class, especially in Yoruba land, today, it is in total contrast with such a vision. Today is about, let's give them food, because they have intentionally made you poor, starting with your education, staggered education year, disrupted education terms, disrupted, adulterated education curriculum, things that completely miseducate you in order for you to end up as useless as possible, to make you end up as a statistic. It is deliberate. What you are witnessing in Yoruba land today is deliberate. Now, look at that. The teachers in Ogun State have gone on indefinite strike. Their money are not paid. Politicians are buying houses. Politicians are buying titles. Politicians are they're spending, billions of money on projects on how to actually steal more money. So therefore, what's going to happen? The standard of life of the teachers are falling completely flat. So as a teacher, you don't lead the normal life that you can say, oh, I'm a teacher. No. When they say you're a teacher, people have to actually feel sorry for you. No joke. That was intention. That is intentional. Then you decided to down tools. The children have to stay home. Yeah, they have to stay home. The students, the children's education is now disrupted simply because of greedy criminals that even you, the teachers, now be INEC officials. That's why I said don't pity them. This is not a pity party. I didn't play that video because I want you to pity them. I played that video because when you see educators, the people that have to educate us, but they are so ignorant themselves. That is why they say most of what we now know that actually guides us in our lives and then our everyday lives, they were not taught in the classrooms, because the people who are actually there in the classrooms, many of them are also ignorant or intentionally ignorant too. Criminals will come and they will tell them and they will go to the impoverished people, give them money and say, come and vote for us. And then when they want to manipulate election results, guess who are those electoral officers? School teachers. When we were growing up, we always saw our school teachers. They work as INEC officials. They work as a census officials. They work as polio vaccine officials. Mrs. Ukubule, good morning, ma. Good morning, ma. Oh, how are you? Shola, come here. Come and take your, Our school teachers were the ones then who were also working with the same system that was going to come, the same politicians that are going to come and steal their money. So when election comes, they are school teachers, lecturers, you know what I mean? They are the electoral officers. They are the good, not all of them, because there are some of them who, when they work at this election, they will not call them again because they say they are honest. They will bring another person. School teachers, whose salaries are going to be stolen, whose pensions are going to be stolen, whose, everything that monument that belongs to them are all going to be looted away. The same them are the ones at the collation center changing election results on result sheet. So they bring in thieves. When the thieves now takes over, the thieves now start stealing everyone's money, your tax, your your salary, your pension, your everything, to make you further poor and poorer. Then you turn around and say, these politicians are treating us bad. We need to down tools. So it is like that, a vicious circle. Catch 22. It never ends. That is why some people are saying, may we bring cutlass or knife, may we cut this circle and go for something that can actually deal with these myriads of problems. So don't pity them. They are watching me right now. It will shock you that some of those people who are singing there, they are PDP members, they are APC members, and they are also school teachers. They know politics more than anything. They know how to rig election for any of their favorite politician or political party. When these politicians now comes in, they deal with them. Guess who actually feels the brunt more? The children whose education is completely ruined. And that's what you have in Yoruba land. That's what you have all over Nigeria. And then, they cry. They cry like they didn't contribute to their own problems. And I keep saying that, you see, elections have consequences. When you see professors pretending not to be able to read election results, now fraud. That's what they do. How many of you remember all those ones who were reading election results in 2015, in 2019? Professors, they said that the university lecturers are unpaid. Now, university lecturers are, ASU is university. University lecturers are unpaid right now. Since from 2015 to 2022, ASU strike have claimed more than 2 years, 24 months of your own education lifeline. Do you understand what that simply means? It is deliberate. Once you are completely miseducated, then that is why you will begin to defend certificate-less people, because they have already messed up with your brain, messed up with your education, they have messed up with your income, they've messed up with your capability, they've messed up with your opportunities. You are just now pretty much like a number, a statistic. And what do you do to survive? Anything that comes your way. Yes, we have seen it many times. You see educated people defending criminals, drug runners, 419ers, certificate forgers. You know what I mean? Ex-convicts. They will be telling you that that doesn't matter. Do you know how many people these people have been helping? Because they deliberately made you poor. Awolowo thought education will make us better off. But look at what those who succeeded in Western region of Nigeria, those who are preaching one Nigeria to you, now they have turned us all to what? They want to turn us all to Alumajiri beggars who wait for the rank-a-day leaders. Hey, Jagaba, hey, but you know, all those rank-a-day mentality, they are on Yorubas. They are never Yoruba way. But look at it today. They have become part of all this agberoism, the type of education they give to us. It is sad, though. I'm just telling you that that wasn't the vision of Awolowo, and there's some lesson to learn from here. A lot of lesson to learn from that. You are destroying yourselves every time you shout one Nigeria, one Nigeria. It is simply because you have no idea. Look at this Indomie generation. The Indomie generation, especially the ones that are from Yoruba land. I was reading on social media the other day, and they were arguing that Tinubu, they said this Indomie generation, this 1999 demonstration of Grace Epikino, they said that Tinubu, if not for Tinubu, would build Lagos. No joke, serious argument. Then you now saw, I now saw the Lagos Abobakus, the Agbayas, the Elebiala Tenujes, old men and women. They were also like repeating that, if not for Tinubu that built Lagos. I say, you see what we are talking about? If you don't read your own history, they will manipulate them and give you the one that the adulterated one. Imagine, Indomie generation on social media arguing that Tinubu built Lagos. And somebody said, oh, how come Tinubu that built Lagos couldn't build a single hospital that would take care of him, that they have to take him to America, take him to London, and now they've just taken him to France to go and get medical attention. Because they've manipulated them. And for those who are benefiting from the rot, from the manipulation, it's always good to probably make it look like, yeah, it's true now. If not for Tinubu, Lagos no get water. You did there, say you no get water. You are called the state of aquatic splendor. Is that not what they call Lagos? Aquatic splendor. Tinubu built Lagos. If not for Tinubu, let everybody go and build their state. Omasheo, Omo Yoruba. You have no water. If not lie, just say it. And let me tell you something, It is sad that the situation is the same everywhere, especially in Yoruba land. Water, we then talk say no get enemy. Lagos, the center of aquatic splendor. Water. But there is no water. Somebody was talking about Iju Waterworks the other day. And they said the builder of Lagos, how come you no get water? How come that everywhere you turn around, you turn to, people where they sell water, selling water. Imagine, selling water to people. Borehole. I'm talking about water you have to use in your home. Boreholes everywhere and all of that. And they built Lagos for you. There is nowhere, no state in any part of Yoruba land that you can say, oh, come on, come to Ibadan. We have running water. No. Everybody have to build theirs. But back in the day, when we used to have water corporation, when you used to have your water bills sent and the rest of that, Lagos, 2022, they don't get water. You still have to see people pushing trucks, selling water in jerry cans in this 2022. But Indomie generation born to suffer heads. Somebody who build that kind of Lagos for them can build a beautiful, better Nigeria for them. Somebody said that a place that you cannot. They said that Tinubu brought Enzon, Abemron, Abiweti, that they call them to Nigeria to give you electricity. And they said, but Lagos State have no electricity, which is true. Nowhere in Yoruba land have 24 hours electricity. No part of Yoruba land of today in Nigeria can boast of 24 hours electricity. Nowhere. But they built Lagos in that shithole that they built for you. You have no road. You have no real, what do you call it, healthcare system. You have no real housing. You have no real social system. No social care system. There's nothing that is really significant to say, oh yeah, but we have this now. You have nothing. You make them up in your heads, and then you believe that that can be reciprocated. Awolowo had something to reference when he thought he wanted to liberate the North. In his own memo, in his own book, he said, I could have liberated the North. So, for some of us who have read that history, and who have also learned from that history, we are now asking ourselves that how we wish that Awolowo Chief Obafemi Awolowo actually concentrated all those energy into, after getting independence, right, that we have an autonomous region of Western region, begin the process of getting us out of Nigeria completely. It would have been a great idea, but that didn't cross his mind, I believe. The success he recorded in Western region, which still speaks to this day, most of those legacies destroyed by the rogues who now parade themselves, past and present, who parade themselves as Yoruba leaders. Those legacies destroyed. So today, if there's something I have to learn from that history, it is not for me to encourage anyone from Yoruba land to think that they have something to offer Nigeria when we are living in squalor. Reality. They destroyed healthcare. When Awolowo was alive in Western region back then, King Fahd of Saudi Arabia and his entire family, the king of the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they were using UCH Ibadan, University Hospital Ibadan, University College Hospital Ibadan. UCH, they were using that as their own foreign hospital in 1958, 1959, all done. Yes, that is your history. That was how great it would have been if we had concentrated all our resources, all our energy into propagating a nationhood. For who we are exactly. But Awolowo and his own action group team, the politics of that era, thought that they could build a country with those who had no plan of building a country, but a fiefdom. Now, all those things that Awolowo thought that they were going to actually hand in northern Nigeria and bring them to power with you from southern Nigeria, guess what, right? The longer we stayed back now, we have now been contaminated with that same virus of Rankadede. We are not using Rankadede in Yoruba land. We are using Oraisa. The people who are stealing your future. That's exactly what they had. So then you'd say, our leader, we are waiting for our leader to tell us what to do. That is completely on Yoruba, not our way. But it has now it's always been the way of those who formed that northern Nigeria as their leaders at the time. So if you're watching me right now, and you are pretty much like in that habit of, but it's because you are not using your senses, because you have been fed with the wrong history of who you are. Awolowo said, when the northern Nigeria and their people, when the people of northern Nigeria were waiting for the dictates of their own fundamental backward leaders, selfish leaders, he called them, in the south, we, the citizens of the southern Nigeria, were already engaging and arguing with kings in Yoruba land, especially. Yes, because we are educated, we could read, we could write, we could differentiate from what is good or bad politically. We are conscious politically. Education brought that. But today, people are dumber because the criminals who took over after the time of the era of those Awolowo and the likes, yeah, the criminals who took over, they infected us with the virus of servitude, that the northern Nigeria represents. And today, yeah, it is not just you, the citizens of southern Nigeria, who have now been subjected to second citizenship, servitude. Your politicians are also the same. They have to go to northern Nigeria to prostrate. They have to go to northern Nigeria to win validation. They have to go to northern Nigeria to win endorsement before they can even represent you as a senator or represent you as a lawmaker. It is all because of the mixed and messed up education. So if you don't learn from the history, you are bound to repeat it. And that's why people like us will continue to. We know the ignorance is so much right now, especially among the younger people who have been fed lies all their lives. But look at me very well. There's nothing going on right now that hasn't that never happened before. The only reason why they are pretty much like, happening again is because we have never learned from it. Yeah. So sometimes you ask yourself and say, man, we wish that the late sage Chief Obafemi Awolowo never his vision, never took his vision of the people beyond the region that is managed, to have people who understand that we're not supposed to be servitude and then be all these things they are telling you today, that Yorubas have to be very respectful. Yorubas are very, very respectful, this and that. It is an adulterated illustration, okay? We are very respectful of people who earn our respect on different fields, on different choosing the careers of theirs. You must have made an impact before you will earn the respect of an ordinary Yoruba, educated and intelligent Yoruba man or woman. Honestly speaking, that's who we have been. Awolowo wrote that down there. We argue with you, even though we see you as a leader, or you are acknowledged as a leader, but that doesn't mean that you have to throw bullshit and nonsense at us. We'll question them. We have always been like that. We've been like that for 60 years ago. 60 years ago. Think about that. Talk less of today, 2022, that we should be more educated, more enlightened, and at the same time more intelligent than what we were 60 years ago. But sadly, the rogues who took over from Awolowo and then at the time, and the rogues who are parading themselves today, they have made us more dumber, and it is deliberate. It is intentional. So they call people like us confrontational. You are so confrontational. You have no respect, because you shouldn't be respecting criminals. You shouldn't. Criminals also grow old. Foolish people also grow old. Stupid people also grow old. Does that mean that when they grow old, does that stop making them sound stupid when they are still sounding stupid? That is who we have always been. We question everything until what you will say next time can determine if you are going to be able to afford to feed your family tomorrow. Until what comes out of your mouth, you have to be very careful of them, because they can determine if you are going to end up dead, or you are going to end up jobless, or you are going to end up with your business ruined in Yoruba land. That was gradual. It wasn't sudden. It was gradual. Then you started seeing the ass lickers getting rewarded. Ass lickers, they became spokespersons for intelligent people like the Yorubas. And it was gradual. And then now they have done a serious and terrible job, that they have miseducated millions of other young people who came after them, and they are still doing it today. And the ignorance is so far reach. Now you begin to ask yourself that when are we going to really catch up? Criminals grow old, foolish people grow old, and that doesn't stop them from being foolish. You don't take advice from foolish people. You don't respect stupid people simply because you want to be politically correct. So if you don't learn from your history, you will repeat it again and again. And that is why people like us are saying, look at them today. Because Tinubu wants to be president, they have to deny They have to lie about all the atrocities committed by this, committed by this APC, especially Boko Haram. Now, let's call it a party loyalty. Party loyalty. Should party loyalty also cover the part where your people are being killed? Should it? It is beyond that. It is selfishness. It is greed. Awolowos said, these northern leaders will regret it. I am saying it to you today that the southern leaders who claim to be political or religious or whatever leader they claim, they will also regret this, their selfishness, this, their self-centeredness, because one Nigeria is a selfish agenda. It is not for you. It is not for me. It is not for any of us. You see, because nobody can define the one Nigeria than the owners of Nigeria. Others are just pretty much like a unity beggars. No one can really define it. And when you ask them to do, they automatically go into rage, anger, unexplainable, rage. Because nobody can really explain it. I've done so many series on here to make us believe, to make us see more why it is a pure waste of time if anyone tells you that they have one agenda, they have one idea that is going to make Nigeria great. It is a pure fallacy. Seriously. We have seen those who tried. But if you pay attention very well, it is never a workable thing. And for them knowing that, they decided to veil that. They decided to cover that with this one Nigeria baloney or so. Awolowo tried 1959. At some point, he thought it was now in their good book. He tried again in 1979. You can't do it. Now, while they are making it, what really breaks out these days that everything, give me a sec, everything that Awolowo thought would never happen to the people of Yoruba land at the time, preventing that from continuing in northern Nigeria. Like I said, we have been infected with them today. Yeah, we have. And the contributor to this are now saying they actually want to continue that nationally. And you as a young person, you don't see that as a threat to your life, to your existence, to your future. Well, I learned about how political decisions can be a threat to my life, to my future, based on their policies and their association and what they have done. And when you look at all those who are proposing the one Nigeria, it is still pretty much the same agenda of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And then, we can build one out of this rumble. It is not going to happen when the fundamental things are never really addressed or being avoided as they have always been doing. You can't fix a country. And most importantly, the criminals who destroy the place, destroy the country, can no longer be those who claim to want to fix the country. That's where you should begin to ask the questions of, about your own kind of, your mental, the state of your mental health as well. I have done that. What is the state of my mental health? To believe that the criminals who brought us to this level are also going to also take us out of the how. So what they have done mostly is that they have succeeded in making us see through the lies. And they are now probably trying to silence us, to make us feel like what we have seen is not what we have seen. It could be something else. In fact, let's try something new. And that's where the contradictions started coming in. And they have now said, well, not only said, they have now turned self-determination struggle into a treasonable crime, something that they can't even prove in their own courts. So talking about those who felt like they could save Nigeria, abandoning the real people who made them or bring them to prominence, only for them to come back in regret or even join them in making it worse. So many of us feels like we have seen the truth, we have seen the obvious, so to say. So how then should we continue to lie to ourselves or pretend that it could be the other way, or what we have seen is not what we have seen? So we said that if the likes of Chief Obafemi Awolowo had probably never bothered themselves about trying to bring the northern Nigeria to the main, what do you call it, to this vision the one Nigeria where everybody is so educated, everybody is, developmentally oriented and the rest of that. No, he discovered that, but it was too late for him to take Yorubas out of the arrangement and the contraption before his death. So why should we, the generation that have seen that, the generation that have read through that, the generation who have seen through the players, those who actually, hang on, the generation that saw the chance, the generation that saw a chance of taking us out of a possible doom if we continue to coexist in the same country where their own idea is completely so far-fetched from what you as the leaders of as the forebearers, our own forebearers. So we were like, if there's anything to learn from that history, that should be how to tell this generation who are still here now and those coming after us that do not engage or get involved in the charade of trying to save Nigeria. Awolowo tried twice. He saw the truth and he saw why it's never going to happen, right? And it was too late for him to take Yorubas out. So those who have now been milking that gap today, when they say one Nigeria, trust me, it is not in your own interest. Awolowo saw through that. So why should we then waste our own life in trying to hide this from the sons and daughters of Yoruba land? That listen, if there's any energy you should put together, if there's any interest that should be your interest, there should be something that you should go to bed and think about, dream about, and in fact write something about and preach about. So to say, it should be your journey out of a contraption that is a mismatch from the word go. No matter what they said to you today, it is a complete mismatch. And it is deliberate. That's the point. It is totally deliberate. It is not just, you see, mistakes can be made. You can make mistakes. You can and correct your mistake or learn from your mistakes and all of that. Yeah. In Nigeria, wherever you are witnessing today in Nigeria, is deliberate. Just a moment. Grant. So when if our forebearers who sat with them, all right, who sat with their leaders, and they put all this down enough, it points us to, they are pointers to say, why should you ignore that from your history? Why should you pretend that by saying let's come together, let's be one, and the rest of that, is enough, and then ignoring the obvious differences, right? The ones that should normally have been the foundation to determine if you still want to be part of this or not. When you are ignoring that and you continue to shout, let us come together, let us all come together for now. You can't come together when you don't even have the reasons why you want to be together. You don't come together simply because you want to elect a personnel. You don't build a country because, you don't come together and build a country simply because you say so. So there's so obvious difference and disparity here. And the effect of that is that we rather all just stay poor and accept our fate. And that is not our fate. So unity begging and the rest of that should never be part of what we have learned from our history. What we should learn from our history is to make sure that you don't become a unity beggar in a contraption that is completely a complete mismatch, a completely disjointed. Don't ignore the obvious and then begin to chase a shadow of emotion. This country is bigger. Stop those emotions, please. It simply means you are not learning from the history. And if you don't learn from history, you will repeat the same thing again and again. Boy, man, generation of every 10 years, you get this generation breaking into the to this adulthood of a reality. And every 4 years, you witness this. And guess what? I mean, so every 10 years, rather. That's like a waste generation, if you think. By merely saying, let us love ourselves, let us come together, that's it. So nobody can save Nigeria. Nobody has intention of saving Nigeria. Everyone just want to take their own shot. Everybody just want to have their own chance. You know what I mean? It is turn by turn Nigeria Limited. But guess who are those who are paying the supreme prices? You and me, who have become the pawn on their chess table. So Awolowo said it was deliberate. Today, many young Yorubas, Indomie generation, some of them, they don't even have shame. Urgent 2K. So please, if you go on Twitter right now, you will see young people who opened social media to argue about Wizkid versus Davido, to argue about Ronaldo versus Messi, to argue between APC and PDP. And then when they are not doing any of that, they are busy dropping comments everywhere. Please, can you just, can you, they have this popular line, urgent 2K. You saw those urgent 2K. That is no longer in vogue. Please, can you just buy me lunch? I've never seen the most shameless, ridiculously shameless generation whose future have been so mortgaged by the same rogues who have made them disinterested in the politics that actually decides if they are going to lead a better life or not. Urgent 2K. About, can you buy me, please, sir? Random people on social media, can you buy me lunch? Can I quickly get urgent 3K? I need help. The generation that cannot have a conversation, political conversation, and understand how politics actually contributed to the poverty that they are currently experiencing. They have no idea. A miseducated, poorly educated, or stark illiterate generation who have no idea what life is all about anymore. Now that is something that if Awolowo was still alive, Awolowo would say, all these political criminals in Yoruba land, they will regret it for destroying the foundation that Awolowo said was what we needed, education. Education will let you be able to make decisions that you'll be able to compare the consequences before you take them. Today, our people are now poorer, right? Like Okunu said, very poor, that you can't even imagine it. And then they are living in denial. So you have this generation there that you believe that we just need to continue to educate them. They also need to understand the consequences of the actions of those who abandoned them for what they call the national politics or whatever they want to call it. It is not in your interest. One Nigeria is not real. It is a mirage. You are going to find out eventually, and you are going to acknowledge it as well. And you are going to know that it is deliberate. It is not by accident. It is not because of your sins. I've told you this many times. Everything you are witnessing in every part of Nigeria today, they were imported from northern Nigeria, policy-wise. It is deliberate. And it is all possible. It all came, I mean, all of that become possible because they abandoned, or let me say, they ended or destroyed the regional system of government for this one Nigeria, one divided Nigeria. Somebody is saying that you should vote for Peter Obi. If you like, vote for Obi Peter. As long as your agenda is that you're one Nigeria, you will soon discover that you are only, you are only contributing to what it says eventually going to kill you. That is what Nigeria is. Keeping Nigeria one under the status quo that you have today, no matter what a politician tells you today, right? It is your own way of contributing into your own self-destruction. There's absolutely nothing it's going to do. Awolowo jumped from his own region, where the affairs of the people was paramount. It was so successful that he couldn't wait to actually take it further and secure the lives of those who are today entrapped in that Nigeria that you are now praying for Peter Obi to come and help you change. It's not going to do any jack. But that could be a start. That could be the beginning. Why not? But Nigeria, they missed it then. It will be sad if some of you don't know the significance of you being dragged into participating in an election, right? That you don't stand a chance of making any meaningful difference at all. The frenzy, the movement, all of that, they are good, very good. In fact, very, very good for this moment, whereby now we have been able to ignore PDP, APC, Egbekegbe. People are beginning to say, we have an option, we have an alternative. But guess what? Like I said, it is not that you can shout this one Nigeria, the way many of you are doing right now. That is not it. You are ignoring the obvious division, and you are telling yourselves that all we need now. No, you have no idea of what you need yet. You cannot ignore the obvious division, the differences, and say, once we do it this way, we'll be out of it. That was what they told some of you in 2015, wasn't it? Obi said something that actually kind of interests me. And from my own experience, where I know that politicians, they will say anything and everything just to get your attention and get you to, probably listen to them or even give them your backing. Well, it's good enough that it's the only bold one that actually said that, because he could. He acknowledged the fact that self-determination is not a crime, which is true. He also admitted that if he was the president of Nigeria, he would never be sending killers after the likes of Nnamdi Kanu or Sunday Igboho. He would rather engage them. And that is to say, Peter Obi himself knows about all these peculiar differences. And he knew then that as well that Nnamdi Kanu is not out here from the blues, if not because of the total disparity and difference on fierce and unjust structural existence of Nigeria, which has made many of us second-class citizens in a supposed place that should be our own country. Peter Obi knew about all these differences, and he said, I would never have to send people to go and kill or arrest or anything. I would rather engage them. And that is where he said that if the country is running fine, agitation will reduce, and that is the place that is also wrong. People have learned the fact that keeping Nigeria together is not in the interest of the indigenous people that actually make up of that contraption. You get what I mean? So people have discovered that, and there's no going back on that. In a way, as we said, Nigeria has pushed people into realizing that Nigeria is not for us. And many of us who have actually, researched deeper, we've realized that, whether you want to admit it or not, their own type of jihadist Islamic Republic of Nigeria is where you are currently living, whether you want to admit it or not. There is ongoing religious genocide going on in Nigeria. There's ongoing tribal ethnic cleansing going on in Nigeria. All of these evil acts, they are all intentional and they are all imported from northern Nigeria by the rogues who actually want to make the entire Nigeria a copy of the northern Nigeria, something that is brewing and breeding resistance everywhere. So yeah, that's the truth. It wasn't meant to be won. And when it is not meant to be won, right? The ideal thing is to discuss why is the differences, and then let's part this ways honorably, and let the jihadists that Awolowo said did not mean well for their people in 1959, let them have their peace and make it easier and stop all this unity begging, so to say. So history should be teaching Tinubu as we speak. What is he offering them? You as a southerner who wants to be president of Nigeria, what are you offering? You want to what? Make Nigeria a Dubai, a united contraption, or a now loving place where people are no longer going to suspect themselves, or a place where people are no longer going to be profiled according to where they come from, or a place where people are no longer going to be to be lynched or killed for blasphemy against one religion or the other. Hello, whatever they tell you, whatever they drag you into, keeping Nigeria one is not in your own best interest. Discussing our differences and deciding if we still want to be one or together should be something that should be at the topmost of your hearts, your mind, all of you watching me right now. If you pay attention very well, if you learn from history, if you pay, like I said, if you pay detailed attention to history, you realize that if you learn from that history and you don't want to repeat that same history, no matter who is at play, as long as it affects or concerns Nigeria, if you don't want to, the ideal thing is to work together and then encourage at least a conversation. Let's start with that. A conversation to decide, do we still want to be together or not? I can bet that if a conversation around the referendum, a conversation around the self-determination, autonomous region, and every other thing that people have thrown out there to tell you how much they have been so kind of displeased and disjointed from this arranging contraption, right? If you throw that out and say, oh yeah, let's discuss it, then people can decide if they still want to be part of it or not. People need to decide if they want to be part of it or not, than for those who tell you it's all sorted. Don't worry. We are together. We are one. We are not. No, we are not. And that being one or not should be something that is open for debate. So as a young person, do not waste your energy. Do not waste your time in hoping or thinking with your emotional roller coaster, with what they are feeding you with right now. All the enthusiasm and the rest, they are good for you. Enough that you could probably be part of your own experience about how and why Nigeria cannot be fixed. Nigeria cannot be, no way. Maybe this will be part of your own experience as well. But how about understanding or learning from the history that I've just told you now? It's so important, because if you don't learn from history, you are bound to repeat it. And this time around, or from what we have known, repeating from an unlearned history has become so fatal. We have seen how people die. And then when you look around and see those who are claiming that they want to fix Nigeria, you ask yourselves, like, what do they want to? Where do they really want to fix? You have Nigeria, and then you have what? You have two rules in one country, one for the north, one for the south. The one for the south is considered as the law for the country. The one for the north is considered as for the Sharia north. And then you want to coexist in that same arrangement without actually discussing it. That is the problem. So doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result is being recorded as a symptom of insanity. You as a young person watching me today, critical thinking, emotional intelligence that I spoke about before. You see, people not having empathy, talk less of having sympathy for others, is all deliberate. Conditioning people to be like this. My friend, shut up your mouth. Jagaban is going to be our president and the rest of that because you are conditioned to see it that way. Atiku is going to be our next president because you are conditioned to see it that way. Peter Obi is going to be our next president. You are conditioned to see it that way. But there's nothing new. It's all just pointed to one thing. You have not learned anything from your history. You are not ready to learn anything from it. You are pretty much proud to repeat every of the mistake of your history, only to come back here again in 4 years, possibly, crying again. Maybe you would have discovered another fancy person. Yeah, another fancy person. Oh, this person is going to save us. This is our savior. This is our this and that. Because you are not learning from your history. Hi, Maiyegun General. I have managed to dedicate my time to remind people that we won't have to repeat the same mistake again and again, and then expect a different result this time around. So we dedicate the time to ensure that those who know are never in any way manipulated to go astray again in this old contraption. But we have it here. If you want to learn from it, if you are a Yoruba man who have all it takes, right, to liberate us as Yoruba people, to encourage us as Yoruba people, to come together and get ourselves out of this contraption, use it, do it. Because you will be what? You will be making history yourself. But if you are one of those who are pretty much saying, it is not time, it is not time. That's what they told your parents, remember? Yeah, they told them that it wasn't time for them to actually fight and push out until they are no longer able to fight. They will use you as a bargaining chip. Being part of Nigeria makes it easier for them to continue to make you a bargaining chip with the rest of Nigeria, northern Nigeria, and the rest. But you can stop that. With the right education, with an informed mind, you can stop that and stop believing the lies. Because one Nigeria is not real. Until the time that they put this before every one of us, okay? I can tell you this. We have many of us also who agree that being part of Nigeria is not in the interest of the Yoruba people. It's not in the interest of the people of the Western Nigeria. And if you are in doubt, people say, let's put it in the table. Let's put it out there. Let the people decide. How about we start with that bogus, fraudulent constitution? Start with the one that people will say, yes, we said, we the people, that comes with all the details of if they want to be part of Nigeria or not. And then you throw it open to them and say, oh yeah, decide if you want to be part of it or not. And then see, before you can begin to say that the people have decided. That is how to build a country where people they will know that they have they have their own, they are stakeholders in it. In Nigeria of today, nobody is a stakeholder other than the gatekeepers from the north to the south and their own turn-by-turn colleagues and the rest. So tonight I decided to drop this simply because I was reading this book, Why My Presidential Ambition Failed, and then the vision of Awolowo and every of their own wonderful ideas, the characters that worked with him, things, his failures, his disappointments, his successes, and all of that, his successes and all that. So I was like, I'm going to share that with you. Tinubu is joining using the Yoruba name. Others are also joining using the names of their region and all that to say they want to save Nigeria. No, they can't. If you have any success that you have recorded, at least in this day and time, if you indeed actually love your people, you will rise up. You will demand for the peaceful and then, gentle, easy, breakup of Nigeria from the current stranglehold arrangement. And you should let the people decide. That's not too much to ask. But if you don't agree now, they also make peaceful change impossible. They will make violent change inevitable. This is where I'm going to draw my curtains. I'm going to see some other time, right? Good evening.
Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Wọ́n bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Ha! Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lé ibo níṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o. Ẹ̀yin bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.